Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive into the shadowy realm of the Japanese underworld, a place where honor and violence collide. We're talking, of course, about the Yakuza, Japan's infamous organized crime syndicate. Often shrouded in secrecy and myth, the Yakuza are more than just tattooed gangsters. They're a complex and enduring part of Japanese society. For centuries, they've operated in the shadows, wielding power and influence. They're steeped in tradition, bound by strict codes of conduct, yet engaged in a vast array of criminal enterprises. From gambling dens to high finance, their reach is undeniable. But how did this all begin? Join me as we peel back the layers of history and delve into the captivating world of the Yakuza. We'll explore their origins, their structure, their activities, and their enduring presence in the land of the rising sun. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Our journey starts in the early 17th century during Japan's Edo period. Imagine a society rigidly divided by class, with samurai warriors at the top and merchants and artisans somewhere in the middle. Now picture those at the very bottom, the outcasts, the gamblers, the peddlers of illicit goods, the tekiya. These groups, operating on the fringes, would become the precursors to the modern Yakuza. The tekiya, itinerant peddlers often ostracized for their trade, formed their own communities. They offered protection and regulated commerce amongst themselves. They developed their own codes of conduct and rituals, laying the groundwork for a structured criminal underworld. Think of them as the prototypes, the beta versions of the Yakuza to come. Over time, these groups grew in size and influence, attracting those seeking power or escaping poverty. They provided a sense of belonging and purpose in a society that often shunned them. The seeds of organized crime were sown, ready to sprout in the fertile ground of Japan's changing social landscape. Now, you might be expecting a dramatic reveal, a single figure emerging from the shadows to claim the mantle of Yakuza founder. But the truth, like most things Yakuza-related, is a bit more complicated. The Yakuza, unlike, say, the Mafia with its clear hierarchical structure, evolved more organically. There are compelling theories, of course. Some point to figures like Shimizu no Jirocho, a legendary gambler and Robin Hood-esque figure of the 19th century, as a key influence. Others highlight the role of masterless samurai, or ronin, seeking fortune and purpose in the criminal underworld. The reality is likely a mix of these factors, a slow burn rather than a sudden explosion. Various groups, each with their own codes and territories, gradually coalesced into larger, more organized syndicates. The Yakuza, as we know them today, were not born overnight, but rather emerged from a complex historical stew. To understand the Yakuza's grip on power, we need to look beyond their criminal enterprises. These are not simply gangs operating in the shadows. Throughout their history, the Yakuza have cultivated alliances with powerful entities, weaving themselves into the fabric of Japanese society. During the turbulent years after World War II, the Yakuza capitalized on chaos. With law enforcement in disarray, they stepped in to fill the void, providing security and order, albeit often brutally. They forged ties with right-wing political groups, exchanging muscle for influence. Even today, whispers persist of connections to businesses, politicians, and even elements within the police. These connections, often murky and difficult to prove, highlight the Yakuza's insidious reach. They are not just a criminal element, they are a force deeply embedded within Japanese society. Section 5: Turf Wars and Vendettas, the Yakuza's fiercest rivals. The Yakuza world is not one big happy family. Like any criminal organization, rivalries run deep, fueled by greed, ambition, and the ever-present desire for power. Turf wars, often shocking in their violence, are not uncommon. These conflicts can erupt over territory, profits, or even perceived insults. One of the Yakuza's most enduring rivalries is with the Yamaguchi-gumi, Japan's largest and most powerful syndicate, and its offshoots. These groups, often locked in bloody feuds, demonstrate the Yakuza's propensity for violence and their complex internal dynamics. But the Yakuza's biggest enemy is not another gang, but rather the Japanese government. In recent decades, authorities have cracked down hard on organized crime, enacting strict laws and conducting high-profile raids. The Yakuza, once seemingly untouchable, are now facing unprecedented pressure. Section 6. Reaching Beyond Japan. The Yakuza's Global Network. Don't let their Japanese origins fool you. The Yakuza are far from being a local phenomenon. Their tentacles, like those of any savvy criminal enterprise, reach far beyond Japan's borders. They've established footholds in various countries, capitalizing on globalization and the interconnectedness of the modern world. They've been linked to smuggling operations, moving drugs, weapons, and even people across continents. They've invested in legitimate businesses overseas, using these ventures to launder money and further their criminal aims. Their international activities highlight the transnational nature of organized crime. The Yakuza, once confined to the alleys of Tokyo or Osaka, are now players on the global stage, a sobering reminder of the challenges posed by such groups. Section 7. The business of crime, from gambling to cybercrime. So what exactly do the Yakuza do? Well, like any good business, they diversify. Their portfolio of criminal activities is vast and varied, constantly evolving to adapt to the times. While traditional rackets like gambling, extortion, and loan sharking remain staples, the Yakuza are nothing if not adaptable. They've moved into drug trafficking, particularly methamphetamine, which has ravaged communities across Japan. They've infiltrated construction and real estate, using intimidation and violence to secure contracts and silence opposition. And in a sign of the times, they've embraced cybercrime, engaging in online fraud, hacking, and money laundering. Their ability to adapt and exploit new opportunities is a testament to their business acumen, however morally reprehensible. The Yakuza are not just thugs, they are shrewd criminals, always seeking new avenues for profit in a constantly changing world. Section 8. The Yakuza, in the 21st century decline and transformation. The Yakuza of today are not the all-powerful force they once were. Remember those government crackdowns we mentioned? They've taken a toll. Membership is dwindling, traditional sources of income are drying up, and public tolerance for their activities is at an all-time low. But don't count them out just yet. Like a seasoned fighter, the Yakuza are adapting to survive. They're becoming more discreet, focusing on white-collar crime and less conspicuous forms of criminal activity. They're exploiting legal loopholes, investing in legitimate businesses, and trying to blend into the background noise of society. The Yakuza are not going away anytime soon. They're transforming, evolving, and finding new ways to thrive in a world that's increasingly hostile to their brand of organized crime. The future of the Yakuza is uncertain, but one thing is for sure: they will continue to fascinate, horrify, and captivate us for years to come. Section 9. The Code of the Underworld: Bushido and Brutality. Don't be fooled by their sharp suits and seemingly polite demeanor. At their core, the Yakuza are criminals capable of shocking violence. They enforce their will through intimidation, extortion, and, when necessary, brutal acts of retribution. Yet even within this world of darkness, there exists a code, a twisted sense of honor. The Yakuza often romanticize their past, drawing parallels to the Bushido code of the samurai. They value loyalty, hierarchy, and obedience to one's superiors. They have elaborate initiation rituals, tattoos that tell stories, and a strict internal code of conduct. But this romanticized vision often clashes with the grim realities of their actions. The Yakuza code is a double-edged sword used to justify both acts of loyalty and acts of unspeakable brutality. It's a stark reminder that honor in the wrong hands can be a dangerous and deadly thing. Section 10. The Yakuza in popular culture, romanticized and reviled. The Yakuza, much like the Mafia in the West, have captured the imaginations of storytellers and filmmakers for decades. They're often portrayed as tragic anti-heroes, bound by codes of honor yet trapped in a life of crime. Think of classic Yakuza films like Battles Without Honor and Humanity or the popular video game series Yakuza. These depictions, while often entertaining, can romanticize the Yakuza, glossing over their brutality and criminal activities. It's important to remember that these are not Robin Hood figures, but rather criminals who profit from the suffering of others. Their presence in popular culture, however, speaks to their enduring fascination. They represent a world of shadows and secrets, a world where the lines between right and wrong are blurred. They are a reminder that even in a society as ordered as Japan, darkness lurks just beneath the surface. Section 11. Thank you and stay tuned. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of the Yakuza. It's a world of contradictions, a blend of tradition and modernity, honor and brutality. Hopefully this glimpse into their world has been both enlightening and entertaining. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. There's so much more to explore, so many stories to tell. For those eager to delve deeper into the Yakuza's murky depths, I invite you to check out my book, Tokyo Vice, an American reporter on the police beat in Japan. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, sometimes the most fascinating stories are hidden in the shadows.